Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel where I do some cool guitar stuff. Show you some cool techniques, maybe even show you how to play a song. Kind of like today. My latest, A Demon Despair, is getting a lot of buzz, which is really cool. So I figured I would pick that one and show you how to play it. So, this song is weird. uh, Now, before we get going, do you need an 8 string or a 7 string to play this one? Definitely not an 8. 7 would be helpful for it is in a weird tuning. It jams on the last notes, the last 3 notes, and even the notes are in the chorus are in C sharp. So, and I'm in D standard, so that's where my C sharp is on my 7 string. So it being a 7 string would probably make it a little bit more helpful. But if you can transcribe it on your 6, more power to you. So the main riff starts off simple. It is F, G sharp, B, then back on the F, and then the last tail notes, 3 of them, are C sharp. So as such, and that's it. Those 3. Now, I actually, when I wrote this, it was just kind of like this weird kind of groove that I had. I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun. What can we do with it? And actually, earlier today, I wanted to look up and see what scale it is. And technically, it's not. As I believe Google had said, it's not in a Western style scale. So, but there were a lot of possibilities that it could be C sharp, minor, I think it was, and a B pentatonic was one of them, and then there was even a F sharp, which I don't know why F sharp or F major. I don't know. It didn't give me any definitive answers. I'm not overly knowledgeable of theory, but I know the knack well enough. So let me show you again. So it starts off on the F, depending on what your guitar is tuned in. For me, it's the 3rd fret. So there's F. Then you're going to jump up a step and a half to G sharp. Then you're going to hit the B, and then back on the F. And then your last 3 notes are going to be C sharp. Okay, so that's it. Now, as you're playing this, it's going to run through the line a few times. And then instead of playing the low C sharp, it'll do the octave. Power chord. So, as I'd stated before, can you do it on a 6 string? Probably, but then you're probably using more of the neck than you rightfully could be. So if you got a 7, it just tends to make things easier. And plus, if it's on an 8, you're just that much cooler. So, that is basically the meat and potatoes of the bone. I assure you I'm awake. The meat and potatoes of the song. Wow. So a lot of my writing style comes from taking one thing and seeing how many times I can alter it and change it to make it something different or add a different flavor to the way the song moves. So the main riff, okay, now when the singing starts coming in, does the same thing, but there's stops and power chords in it. So still following that same structure, the pattern, but not looping it around and around or letting little breaks in there for a lot of vocals to fall through. Now there's the second part of the verse where it is literally just the bass filling in those gaps. So you're still staying with that but the bass is filling in all that empty space. And that takes us from the beginning all the way up to the chorus. Now, the chorus I made really easy. I just was following the root note of the C sharp. That's it. Nice and simple. Now, if you listen to the song, you can hear that there is something sonically going on during the chorus, and that is the bass guitar. So what the bass guitar is doing is basically paying off octaves and switching from a major to a minor. So just like that, but they're doing it on the higher strings. So basically, you'd be like, right? Like that. So that's what's filling up a lot of that noise while the guitar is writing one note. Now at the tail end of the chorus, there is 2 new chords that only appear in this fashion at the end of the chorus, and that is E to F sharp. I'm weird like that. So, chorus. And here it is, the E and F sharp. And then back into the beginning. Okay, and that is basically the entire song minus the breakdown. Now, what is the breakdown? So what it's doing is it is following what the bass guitar was doing during the chorus minus the octave. So it is just bouncing back and forth between the C sharp major and C sharp minor. So as in the chorus, you're going to be writing that C sharp, right? But this time you're going to go from C sharp to E, C sharp to F, and back and forth, okay? Just like that, and it runs around and around, and it sounds really cool and everything, and the drums are hitting. There's some girls laughing in the background. But that's it. And that's the breakdown. And then it does that. And then it goes back into the beginning while those cymbal chokes are playing. And then ba-da-da-da, and then to the chorus. And then the end. And that is how you play A Demon Despair. Pretty cool song. Alright, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you found it to be fairly easy to follow. Writing a song doesn't necessarily have to have 1,000 different notes. I mean, it obviously can. It doesn't have to have overly technical parts. But, obviously it can. The song has to move. It has to flow. And sometimes that means you just take a circle, mold it into a square, then mold it into a triangle, so on and so forth. And it's as simple as that sometimes. So, that's A Demon Despair in all its many, many technically sound parts. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time around.